Hey everybody, Shane here, daily-astrocat.com, and today's Thursday, and it is the 6th of November. So, what we got going on here? Well, the moon, astrologically, of course, right? Because that's what we talk about. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. So, the moon in Taurus is void of course at 9:52 in the morning. Not a long void of course, though, because it's going to enter Gemini at 10:20 also in the morning. Now, we're really beginning to feel the slowing down of Mercury and Sagittarius. That's right. Learning opportunities that we have, they're going to be a little bit easier to assimilate as our focus, our ability to focus on information presented is heightened because we're not quite so scattered, right? Especially in Sagittarius, with Mercury and Sagittarius going, oh, look over here, I'm planning a trip. Nope. Right now I'm focusing on what's directly in front of me because Mercury is like slowing down. And we've got some interesting things going on. The amount of things that we want to change is going to grow. Why is that? Intimacy is going to get hotter as Venus enters Scorpio today, this afternoon, as a matter of fact. The moon will sweep through the kite that Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter have been making, kind of, sort of, with Venus, right? Although we may be at a half kite at this point, all right, which puts an emphasis on the creative side and takes away that expansion side from Jupiter. But we've got Venus that's going to be conjunct with Haumea, and that is some new ground. That's that new ground that Mars went over back in September. We're going to get into that a little bit later on. So this is a crazy energy, and it's going to find us doing more, adding more, loving more, and digging deeper. Yesterday, that was literal for me. I discovered that when the gas company changed our meter, we had those really strong winds over the last couple of days, and basically it took everything off to the west-facing side of the house, and just cleared out all the leaves that were there. Right, so all the leaves that I thought were in front of my window wells and stuff, the basement windows or the cellar windows, whatever, depends on what you prefer to call them. Right, they have these wells that form on the outside because they're supposed to drain down. You're not supposed to have anything up above the window height, right? The gas company actually took the dirt that they had extra and filled those two wells. And I went out there and I walked around the side of the house and I'm like, why is there dirt all the way up to the top of those? And because before they were covered with leaves, and I really never noticed. I don't walk on that side of the house, right? That's faces a neighbor, and it's not a walkway. I just have not really been out there present for the last, whenever we were gathering and taking care of leaves and stuff like that. And so saw that, and I was like, oh, let me get a shovel and dig that stuff out because that's not good. We can't have earth to wood contact. No, not happening. So I took care of that, and that literal, right? Literal. Uranus-Mars. Mars opposing Uranus. Literal. There's been literal stuff all the time, right? Yes. Now, look, the Mars-Uranus opposition will continue to be felt, especially as Uranus enters Taurus tomorrow. There will be progress on an economic front coming because that's what that's going to do, right? That's going to change that, right? That's going to change that. Not necessarily in the way you want it to, but with Uranus retrograde, at least, it's not going to be as surprising as we think it could be either. Although it could be shocking, could be like that, could be like the other Uranus-Mars events that were triggered over the last couple of days. Now, what's happening? Boy, the shutdown appears to be resolving as voters have clearly decided where to place the blame for this. A Mars-Pluto sextile is pushing the agenda now. Change or be changed, that's what it is. Arrogance tells us that any changes will be temporary at best. Look, I wish I were joking about this, but today's keyword is volatility. Now, the color is actually a yellow flame. Black boxes, forensic scientists Voter sentiment and a weakened government will be newsworthy grist for the propagandists. Watch very carefully how the story is being spun. The bot farms influencers are glomming onto repealing the 19th Amendment. I can't believe that is showing up on social media. But here we are, okay? And now, for those of you wondering, and don't keep score and, having a United States Constitution right there with all the amendments right handy, I'll tell you, the 19th Amendment is universal suffrage, right? That's the right for women to vote. Makes sense to try and rip that away from over half the population, right? Yeah. Try to hold power however you can, right? Let's do that. Especially with the sun getting closer to Black Moon Lilith. Oh, yeah. Divine female should love that. Okay, so for those who are operating on a higher frequency and timeline, let's get away from that stuff, right? This is a time for learning, and it's a time for learning some new things. It helps us advance at every level of our journey. Okay? Trust your intuition. I can't say that enough. Why? Well, because I made the mistake of trying to verify solar X-ray data, because when I saw Mars opposing Uranus, I was like, man, that's perfect for a solar flare, right? It's even perfect for, like almost like a air disaster or something like that, right? Oh, yeah. Well, that's stuff that you can say. And I made the mistake of looking up the solar weather data and saw that there wasn't any sizable flares since August. Did that matter? No. The sun threw an X-class flare just, I believe, earlier yesterday. And Northern Lights over Minnesota, it pushes it down because of the radiation, the X radiation that the sun ejects and then enters the Earth's magnetosphere. So, I would have been correct just to throw that out there, right? If I just said, hey, I'm feeling like there's going to be a solar flare, rather than look it up and try to back it up with data and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, believe in your own intuition. Your intuition, you are in tune with more than you think, okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. So, now, the mood of the day is digging into the 2 mini grand trines that Uranus is involved with, right? Because Uranus clearly is going to be fairly close to a trine with Saturn, with Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter has almost progressed to the end of Cancer and is now going to be starting to go retrograde, with Uranus passing that point in returning to Taurus. We're going to find that sextile is still strong. So we've got a couple of, that is a creative aspect because that goes to Neptune. And then the other one forms with Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus as well. So we have 2 creative trines there. So mini-trines. Those are 2 sextiles and a trine. Make sure that you're paying attention to what it is that we're doing. Make sure that we know what it is, what the changes are, and what it is that we're trying to influence, okay? Creatively, okay? Not just, BS out there. This is very creative. This is very this is what motivates a lot of us, okay? Some of it can be business-like because we have Saturn and we have Jupiter out on the wings, right? Jupiter's not going to be there for too long because it's going to go retrograde. It's going to go back into it. And then we're going to go progressing through that. And then as 2026 progresses, we'll find Jupiter exiting that and then just moving along. So we're going to utilize that energy to the fullest, okay? And that's what we want to do. We want to utilize creative energy, business energy, and just be able to push all of our timelines forward. Now, I told you yesterday was powerful for gaining insights into our bigger moves, and this was true. Today we get a bit more into the actual nuts and bolts of how we can make things work as Venus begins to intensify as she enters Scorpio. And she's going to enter Scorpio at 5:39 p.m. Decoupled from Jupiter, Venus is now entering the new ground Mars uncovered back in September. And the moon opposes Mercury tonight. It's not a big deal, to be honest, right? Mercury in Sagittarius is slowing down, so there's not much tension there as far as what it is. The exploration of new ways to use tech, slows down and narrows, okay? By Sunday, this is going to be a slower process. When Mercury's actually retrograde, yeah, it's going to be like you're going to have to do it again and again and again. All right, so keeping with the news and stuff like that. In 1917, on this date, New York State adopts a constitutional amendment giving women the right to vote in state elections. And our birth is Gordon Granger. The name may sound familiar, right? He's born in 1822, died in 1876. He's an American major general during the Civil War. Gordon Granger was the general that arrived in Galveston Bay and wrote the June 19th Proclamation, which we know as Juneteenth. He's born in Wayne County, New York. I guess I'm in a New York state of mind here today. So there we go. All right, so let's sum it up. Our color is a yellow flame. The keyword is volatility. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I appreciate and love every single one of you. Do all the nice things, like, follow, subscribe, share, okay? Because that's one of my long-term goals. Today is a 5. Happy astrocatting.